Hi, everybody. It's Michelle Jackson, and I am here with another amazing interview with a new author who has a book out, who's going to be with us today to talk about this particular book. It is a nonfiction book where he's trying to educate our men on how to be better men. It is called Alpha Diaries: The Keys to Being a Self-Sufficient Man and a Leader Within a Relationship. We have author Khayree Beckem here, and he's going to be talking to us about his work. So let's get started with this interview. I'm looking forward to getting to know him and to learning more about his work. In addition, I will definitely ask everyone to do two things before we put him on the screen. One is to go to our YouTube channel at BW underscore workspace and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can watch us there. And two, you can also find us on author Michelle D. Jackson. That is the Facebook page where you can find this particular link, and we ask that you share it on your page so we can maximize the number of viewers that we have. But for now, let's have Mr. Khayree on the screen. How you doing? How you doing? What's going on?
How you doing?
Good, good, good. It's so good to have you here. We have an audience out there waiting to ask you questions. So, for those of you who are interested, we are live. So, you can drop your questions on Facebook or on YouTube, and we can see them in our comment area, and we will definitely get to those questions. But for now, let's get to know our author. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about your work.
Let me first say I'm related to be on this podcast. I'm related to have this opportunity to share my life, to share this book with the world. And so I want to let you know I appreciate you for that. Uh, a little bit about Khayree. Growing up, one thing I knew I was meant to do, was called to do, is to be a leader among men. All right, my grandma and her sister prophesied about it. My mama prophesied about it, that I was going to be a leader. And so growing up, I embraced that role. And also, on top of that, I am a preacher. So I accepted my call to preach. And men has a big place in my heart. And I want to do everything I can to help men grow and to be the best version of themselves. And so
That's
that's why I took up this burden and writing a book to get this truth out, to help young men and older men to be the best version of themselves.
Wow, you took on a big role because in this day and age where we know that our young men, especially our young black men, are struggling, it's just good to see someone your age who's willing to talk about some of the hard topics and just looking at some of these topics that you're covering in the book. For those of you who I know are right now looking to go get the book, you can find it on directtoauthor.com and on Amazon, and you can definitely pick up a copy of it. And I tell you, some of these topics are hot. I mean, we're talking about a book. I just wanted to show you guys what this book looked like. Alpha Diaries. I love this. With the King of the Jungle, right? So he's going to be talking to us about some of those things. And so we're looking at some of these topics here. Never allow a woman to maintain you. Stop seeking validation in women. Love yourself. Love that. Give not thyself over to a light woman. Oh, I need to figure out what this light woman is now. All women cheat mindset and take your balls back. Oh, we have a book, I feel like, that's really tackling some key things that need to be tackled for all of us. So let's talk about what really made you want to write this book. What did you learn about yourself in the process?
The number one purpose of writing this book is that, unfortunately, in our community, a lot of men grow up without a father figure, and, and that's plays a big part of how we conduct ourselves when we get of age, because we never had that father figure in our life. So a lot of us is trying to become better at what we do through trial and error, because we didn't have that daddy to tell us this is how you're supposed to be a man, this is how you're supposed to conduct yourself as a man, and this is what you should be doing as a man. And so, because of that, I said, let me get this truth out to help the men that don't have that type of father figure. I had a father figure in my life, and I thank the Most High for my daddy and the ideologies that he taught me. But a lot of kids was unfortunate to have a daddy around. So I want to play my part in helping them, give them information to educate them, empower them, to encourage them in their life journey.
You talk a lot of though. I know the book is about malehood, masculinity, how to be a strong man, how to be a leader, how to be a romantic partner, which I do love that you're talking about that as well. But you also deal with a lot of issues around women. So, do you perceive that the downfall of a lot of men is because of the women that they choose?
Hey, yes, yes, because we not taught, we not shown how to pick a good woman. That's just the truth. When we are left to ourselves, we're going to pick what our eyes see, what our eyes want, what our eyes desire. Because the truth of the matter is, man is more visual. When you're dealing with a woman, a woman when she gonna choose a man to be with, she gonna base them days off qualities. We as men, most of the time, we base our choosing off what we see, physically, and that's what mess up a lot of us. And if we can get that straightened out, then I believe we'll be better in relationship and better all around. Because a woman is our helpmeet, first and foremost. A woman is our helpmeet. So if we choosing the wrong woman, we're gonna be out here messed up. And one thing the Most High put on my heart was one of the hardest things for a man to bounce back from is a bad relationship. You can look at it all through history. What took a man down? What did the enemy use to take a great man down? Was a woman. And so if we choose the wrong woman, we're gonna mess ourselves up.
So as a Christian, when I hear you use the words helpmate, I understand that speaks volumes to your faith and what you believe in. What do you say though to women who take offense to being called a man's helpmate?
They should not take it as an offense when they really secure in themselves. You got a lot of women out here that believe in independence, and to survive in America, you have to be an independent woman, whether people believe it or not. You have to be an alpha woman. But true independent, true alpha women are the ones that, from my experience, I only can come from my experience. Alpha women, what we deem as alpha women and what we deem as independent women, they was the ones that was more willing to submit, more willing to be a helpmeet compared to I hate to use my words loosely, but what you call hood rats or low level women. A lot of men is I would say is intimidated by what we call alpha women because uh, they're not all the way up to par with where they should be. And so that's why you got a lot of women with the false understanding of, being a helpmeet because of where men at in their life, in their lifestyle. And so when you got a woman that's considered up here for as quality, yes, you're gonna be offensive when you talk about helpmeet because you're trying to be a helpmeet to somebody that's a low level man, which should never work.
Is that what masculinity is for you? I mean, define masculinity for us. I mean, in your words, how do you define masculinity?
I would say being masculine is being a man. All right. Masculinity in this day and time, unfortunately, is seen as something that's toxic in America, and what I call the United Snakes of America. Uh, it's seen as something toxic, but like I say, I always like to tell people, I'm an advocate for the scripture. So according to the scripture, being masculine is being a protector, being a provider, and number three, being a good parent. That's what entails being masculine. All right, I'm not talking about physical traits. You can have a body, this and that. Don't make you masculine because you're not moving in true manhood. You can have all the muscles, you can have all the looks that you want, but if you're not being a protector, provider, and a good parent to your family, you're not masculine.
I love that you're tackling these things because these are all very sensitive topics, and we know this, right? I
Right,
mean, I
right,
think about Kevin Samuel and the attack that he got for the things that he said.
right.
It's a difficult world because we know that our children need strong Black families or
Mm-hmm.
strong families, and we know that families are, it's easier when you have two than when you have one. It's easier. I come from a single mother family. I mean, household. I understand. It's easier. If my mother could have had that helpmate to help her, it would have been easier on her. And then that's just the reality of it. So when you're talking about male female relationships, right? Because it seems like that's where this this fortitude is coming from, is the male female relationship.
Hmm.
Tell me three things in your book just about the male female relationships, and we're going to talk about some of the other things too, that you advise your readers on, or that you really want to hit hard when you're dealing with men. What do you want them to know? What three things that you really want them to know about the male female relationship that's going to make them a better man?
All right. Number one, a man must be moving in his purpose. All right. In order for any relationship between a man and a woman to really thrive and be successful, that man must be moving in his purpose. And the reason why I say that, because a lot of men end up making a woman their purpose, which sometimes cause havoc in the relationship, right? But when a man is focused on his purpose, that relationship gonna be balanced. It's gonna be in order, because the scripture says everything must be done decently in order. And so if a man is not moving in his purpose, he can't be the best self in the relationship. All right. And then number two, I would say he got to be a provider. In this book, I stress being financially stable. A lot of men want to get in a relationship with women, but they're not financially fit. They're not financially ready, right? And if you're not fit to be in a relationship financially, you shouldn't be in a relationship. You should be focusing on getting yourself to the place where you're able to be in a relationship. And I study history, and the reason why I put being financially fit in my book, because a lot of time women get tagged as gold diggers, right? Right? They
Mm-hmm.
get tagged as gold diggers, but in reality, when you study the history of the black man and where we come from, it was natural for the man to always take care of his woman, because we come from people that was royalty, keenly minded, and women was used to having their man provide for them. Now they may have a business or something on their side that their man was able to set them up to do, but for the most part, when you study the dark ages, before that, you'll realize that the black man always was a provider, and that's why I stress the financial. And one of the chapters in the book is chase cash, chase cash, not ass, and we got that twisted. All right, and a lot of fathers or so-called male figures teach their kids the opposite. Or get as much. I almost said the wrong word, but get as much women as you can, instead of saying, man, focus on building up your finances, going look into stocks, uh, go to a skilled school, go pick up a trade, go to college, right? And so we talk backwards. That's why our community is so backwards. Uh, and so the third thing is we got to be more emotional intelligent, and that's a topic I touched on in the book. It's all right for a man to tap into his emotions. That's what reel a woman in. I'm not saying be emotional, but we ought to be able to show emotions. All right. And when you're able to show emotions, you're able to keep a woman in her femininity, because a woman is more emotional driven.
You know, it's so funny. First of all, we got some questions coming in, and I want to get to those. So for
All
you
right.
guys, I'm not ignoring your questions. I just want to make sure that we get to a good stopping point. You said these three things. A man must be moving in his purpose. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to say this. I've been married 22, 21 years next month.
All right.
And I
Congratulations. Good. Good.
100% agree with that. 100% agree. When a man is moving in his purpose, he knows who he is. He's not holding on to anybody, male, female, to decide which direction he needs to go in. He's clear about who he is. And he comes to you in a position of wholeness,
Right. Right.
which is
Right.
what you definitely want to do. The second thing you said, he said he must be a provider, a financial, and must be financially stable. Once again, I 100% agree with you. I do agree with that. I think that men, I'm not a man, I'm not going to speak for you guys, but in my experiences, you're satisfied with yourself when you know you can take care of yourself
Right.
and you can take care of the person in your family that you have. And then you said that men should be more emotionally intelligent. Now I love that, Because something I always say about men and women is that for us as women, we have each other. We have our girlfriends. We're gonna call each other, cry if we need to, pull out a Essence magazine, whatever we need to do. We got these resources. People expect for us to be emotional, and
Right.
there are resources out there. And more than anything, we have each other. But with men, you guys tuck things away. And I think that's one of the reasons why there are more heart attacks with our black men, more strokes. You just tuck it away because we don't connect as well to our emotion. I mean, you don't connect to your emotions. So I love that you said those three things. And I hope everybody out there, you go get this book so that you can read it and learn from it. And so we're going to get to some of these questions, and then we're going to go back to our Q&A because I don't want anybody thinking I'm ignoring them. I just love it when these questions come in. I'm going to put a few of them on the screen if I can. Um, let's see what we got here. I'm just going to throw a couple of them up and then we'll get some questions. Describe a low level man, then an equal partner, or example of a woman perfect helpmate. And you may have already done this. Question came in kind of early, but what is a low level man again for all?
A low level man is a man that have no sense of direction, which ties back into a man not moving in his purpose. A man that don't move in his purpose is gonna be a low level man. And what they end up doing to fill that void in their life is distract themselves with having fun, you know, going out to the clubs, going to parties, and a lot of them get so caught up in playing video games because they have no purpose for their life. They have no passion for what they want to do, and so that's what consider a low level man. You come home, a woman come home, and all he doing is in his underwear playing Mortal Kombat 2K. Uh, it's all around garbage, man. Excuse my language, but that's what a low quality man is. Somebody that don't have no sense of purpose, no direction in their life, no ambition, no get up to this. All right, and like I said, I'm an advocate for the scripture. First and foremost, if they don't got the Most High in their life, in my book, they low level.
I know some sisters out there going, "Amen," because the brother in his underwear playing video games is a nightmare for all of us. So just be honest with you. Yeah, absolutely. I like the definition that you say here. I want you to start thinking about something because once we get through these questions, I really want to go back to something you said, and I want to make sure that we give a good conversation around this. And that is the idea of the family dynamic. That so many of us are being raised without fathers.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one to teach men how to be men, but then we expect for them to be men. So I want to put a pin in that. But let's go on to some of these questions here. Um, let's see what we got. It's been my experience that men are not the largest demo of readers. Being your target market are young men. How will you reach those who need what you're offering and who's not keen to reading? That's
Uh,
a good question. Mhm.
I'm in the process because one thing I noticed around, among young men, and I see it on my job because quite a few of them, matter of fact, a lot of them have come up to me saying, "Can you put it on audio?" I listen to it. I'm not going to read it, but I listen to it. And so that's why I'm in the process trying to get this book on audio because I know a lot of young men will listen to it before they read it. They're ready for somebody to speak it into their ear, and then them picking up the book and read it. So I pray to the Most High that that be a good avenue to get the truth out to them through audio.
That's a good question. We are definitely talking about book marketing, and we're going to be talking about a little bit that as well. So I see your wife, she drops a couple of questions. She talked to, I mean, a couple of comments.
Mm-hmm.
A man who is purpose driven and self sufficient, who provides, protects, and leads. I know she's answering some of the questions here. This is great. This is a great conversation. There are some more things here. Someone dropped something about gold digging. We got to take this question. Where is the line between gold digging and surviving? How greedy is a woman allowed to be? How greedy is a woman allowed to be? How lazy can she relax and let go of her purpose? She is one to have a purpose driven life too, right? All right. I knew that gold digger comment was going to get some questions. So let's talk about this whole idea of a gold digger. You know what? Then I want to kind of go back to something else you said, and people out there, you can comment on this. There are a lot of things within our culture that we have to unlearn. Okay, you said it before. Older men teaching younger men to go out there as many women as possible. Not as many. Not Don't stack the stocks. Stack.
Right, right,
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying. I'm not gonna say
right.
the word. So these are things in our culture that we need to unlearn, and it's a lot of it. It's a lot of things out there. This idea of a gold digger. Is a gold digger a woman who expects a man to take care of her? Is that a gold digger? Or is it a
Uh,
woman who expects a man to go far and beyond just the normal boundaries of taking care of her? What is this gold digger thing? And I rarely hear this term being used with anybody else that's not of African descent. I'm serious. I
right.
rarely hear, you know, this being used. So help me with this term gold digger. How do you define her and what are the boundaries?
Uh, I don't, me personally, I don't too much use the term gold digger. I use either a woman is looking for a provider or she looking for somebody to leech off of. And the reason why I say leech off of, when a woman get with a man and she goes beyond what is the natural means of providing, and she just won't, she leeching off that man because she not willing to make the sacrifice and help build with that man to get her to the place where she can get all what we call the glamour and gold. So a woman that's not willing to sacrifice for what we call the normal life until the prosperity start rolling in. Uh, I guess that's what you would term as a gold digger, but I call them leeches. Leeches. But we gotta
And
understand. We gotta understand that it's a woman natural instinct to want to survive. Think about that. It's a natural instinct to want to survive. And another thing is women deal with hypergamy. All right. She deal with hypergamy, which means if there's something better or something more out there, then she tends to deal with that temptation of doing it. And rightly so. Rightly so. I told this woman on the job, a lot of men don't understand if they was a woman, they probably be doing the same thing because survival mode always
mhm.
kicks in. And then when you dealing with a man, the first thing that come in your mind is children. If I have children, would this man be able to not only take care of me, but would be able to take care of both me and the children? And so that's why I understand survival mode from a woman's standpoint, but all at the same time, on the flip side of the coin, you do got a lot of women that's leeches, but they are leeches because men. I don't care what no man say, I don't care what no woman say. A lot of these behaviors that women demonstrate is because of the men, what they have allowed, what they have tolerated. If we have more men that was moving according to Alpha Diaries, then you'll see less women being leeches. If we adopt these code of conducts and standards that I'm trying to preach and teach through this book, then we'll have more women moving in their femininity, and we'll have more women moving like they should be as it relates to being a help me and as it relates to being a partner to help build an empire.
Kyrie, a couple of months ago, I had a pen posse roundtable with a group of female writers, and we were talking about womanhood and writing. And one of the things that struck me during this conversation was this pivot towards Black women talking about wanting the soft life. And I had never heard Black women talk about wanting the soft life because we like you said, we're in survival mode. It's something else we're learning. So we need to unlearn in our culture is the fact that we always have to be in this survival mode, which is exhausting.
Right.
Okay, it's
Right.
exhausting. Black woman, man, it doesn't matter. It's exhausting because of the fact that it takes so much out of you trying to appease so many people and do so many things on your own. So when this group of women started talking about soft life, a term I had not even heard before, it really struck me that there are many of us trying to turn the page on this idea of having to be in control and in charge of everything all the time
Mhm.
because it is wearing us down. It's hurting our health, our wealth, our emotions. It is becoming a bit much. So I'm glad to hear that you're saying that this is we got to stop looking at each other as the man and the female, black woman, black man, and look at it as a unit. How do we strengthen the unit as a whole? So, my next set of questions for you, though, is about a quote I read. It's not in your book, but something I read. It says, "I'm standing in the ashes of who I used to be." What are you standing in the ashes of?
Uh, I would say standing in the ashes, I want to be a player,
Hmm.
what I used to be. Uh, I think that was a major setback in my life. I want to be a player, want to have as many women as I possibly could, uh, especially in my college days. Me and my brother was in college together. So after my brother in college, we really dealt with a lot of women. And so I believe that set me back because in college, I was not focused in the beginning. I mean, I ended up going on to get my master's degree. All praises to the Most High for that. But I could have got it way faster, way quicker if I was focused on not trying to stand in the ashes of being a player. It made me think about Nehemiah chapter 4, where they talk about the walls being burnt down and they were standing in the rubbish, in the ashes. All right. And a lot of men is still standing in the ashes instead of being like Nehemiah, rebuilding. All right. It take work. It's gonna take a lot of work to rebuild. It's gonna take, like you said, a lot of unlearning of the mindset that we have been given from the past generation, and even in this generation. It's gonna take a lot of work. And I believe that if we all would put forth our own efforts to rebuild, then our community would be like the community the scripture said we should have.
Excellent, excellent. Everybody out there, if you have any more questions, please drop those questions. We're going to continue to talk about this book, Alpha Diaries. I love that. You can definitely pick it up on Direct to Author, which is the Black Writers Workspace bookstore. You can also get it on Amazon. And I do encourage everyone to pick up a copy because we need to support this brother and we need to read the words of someone who's trying to help our community heal because that's a big thing that we need to all be focusing in on. So as we before we get into talking about book marketing and publishings, I always like to talk about those things so that our writers out there can learn about your process. I want to go back to this idea of this family dynamic and how do we heal this family dynamic, because I agree with you. I grew up in a single family home. I know how hard it was on my mom. I know that if she would have had a strong helpmate there, help somebody helping her, or she helping him, a unit, it would have been easier. Talk to us about some of the things in your book that
Uh,
you would encourage our men and women to do who are trying to embark on this marriage journey and trying to keep our families together because it's a lot of loss when these units dissolve. So talk to us a
uh,
little bit about that.
one of the chapters in the book is to men is to love yourself, and this ties into what you said need to be healed. Uh, a lot of times, men in our community is taught to hate themselves. They grow up with self-hate. Uh, we are taught that we are to tolerate a lot of crap, not just from our women, but from society itself. But I believe that in order to really get the family unit back to being a dynamite in our community, the man need total healing. The man need total healing. And if the man get total healing, then the woman and the children and so forth will all fall into place. And so that's why I put a chapter now. You got to love yourself. You got to love yourself more than anything. I mean, number one, you love the Most High. You got to always love Him first. All right, love Him with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, all your strength, of course. But then you got to love yourself. You can't properly love a woman, and you can't properly love your children if you don't love yourself. Because the scriptures, and I believe is Ephesians chapter 5. Uh, it says you got to love your neighbor as yourself, right? So how can I love my neighbor, or how can I love my wife, or how can I love my children if I don't love myself? If the scripture told me to love them as I love myself. So if I don't love myself, I can't properly love them. You understand what I'm saying? And so we got a lot of men that's trying to be leaders or trying to lead a family without properly loving themselves. And I believe that's one of the big breakdowns in the home. Like I say, and You know, women don't get the pass. Don't get me wrong, women don't get the pass, but I stress time and time again, our community, our people, our relationship is down in degradation solely because of the man. I tell my woman, I tell my wife, when I stand before the Most High, she don't have to answer for how this home is being conducted. I do, because First Corinthians chapter 11 lays out the guidelines for the home. It said God over Jesus, Jesus over the man over the woman, then the kids, so forth. So I got to answer for how the home is being conducted. So that's why I be telling men, I know they want to point the finger at women. I know they want to point the finger at this and that and the other, but at some point in their life, they got to accept responsibility. They got to be owners of what's going on, right? In order for the home life to get back uh, straight. And I be telling men, and when I hear about this situation, one of my main um, uh, sayings that I tell them, go back home, man. Go back home and pick up them kids. Spend some time with them kids, man. Them kids need you, man.
Yes,
And so if men would stop focusing on themselves far as having fun, because fun, like I said, fun has its place. Fun has its place. But when you prioritize fun over everything else, then our people, our homes is going to continue to go down in degradation.
I think that we have to also understand that this brokenness comes from generations and generations of brokenness. You know, we come to this land
Mhm.
slaves, and our families were dissolved of. I mean, people were pulled away from each other, and we've had to try and mend all those broken pieces over these years, and it has been extremely tough. It doesn't give anybody a pass. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean that, you know, women don't have a role, men don't have a role, but we are a community of people who are still trying to put pieces back in place that was broken generations ago.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the reasons why it's important that we have books like yours, where you are tackling a very important part, a very important topic, which is how do we build our men up and how do we build our boys up, because the world is even more different now. I love that you talked about love yourself, because that's something that women we talk about. You got to learn to love yourself. I rarely hear men talk about that, and it's good to hear you say that that is a big piece of what's needed in order to pull our families back together and to heal our community. So that is so excellent. Everybody drop your questions. We're going to do another 3 minutes just talking about your book publishing. When did you release your book?
I released it this year. I believe it was in July, July 19th, something like that.
July
July 18th.
19th.
Yeah, July 18th.
Love this cover. Love this cover.
Yeah,
Uh,
might I add, my oldest daughter, she did this cover. She's very good at art, and I be telling her that she ought to be glad that the Most High given her a talent. Uh, this drawing of her, this illustration of her is going out into all the world. And I was showing her because I'm able to see where the book has been purchased. I was showing her like, a lot of people in the UK been purchasing the book, and I was telling her, I said, man, you listen, your talent is going out into the world. You touching people, man. You never know who may call upon you in the world because this book is going all out in the world. All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tell her congratulations on that cover. That was
Her
excellent.
name is Naomi Beckem. A shout out to Naomi Beckem.
Naomi, that's right. Make sure dad get your money to you too. All right. Yeah, that's what you do. Make sure you give her money. So, yeah. So talk to us about your marketing. I know you've been doing a lot of things. This process, are you self-published or you publish with a publishing house?
I self-published. I self-published through Amazon. Uh, they doing marketing for me. My wife, she been doing. I'm gonna be honest. I gotta help me. So a lot of the marketing is coming from her because I work a lot. And
Hmm.
if I may go back to a previous conversation, I don't try to be hard on men and whatnot, but I had a wife. I was in a master degree program and working 80 hours a week, still tending to a wife and children. And so it's not that I try to be hard on men, but all at the same time, if I'm able to take care of all these kids, wife, in a degree program and still work 80 hours a week, then it's like, come on, man, it's no excuse, no excuse. But for the most part, I just had to drop that out for. But for the most part, my wife do all the marketing, social media, Google promos. Uh, my daughter, she doing a lot of marketing too, do TikTok. She over the TikTok. My son doing commercials for me. So there's a lot of marketing going on. I'm just thankful to the Most High. I got a good supporting cast.
Well, we're just happy to have you as part of the Black Writers Workspace and direct-to-author.com, which is our book marketing platform. We also happy to see you just push hard, get your words out there. We need to hear from you. We need to hear from all our brothers. So I hope that you encourage more Black men to continue to write. Writing is so therapeutic. You get
It
to put
is.
it on paper, you get to help people heal. There's nothing like having someone walk up to you and tell you that they enjoy what you wrote. Like that, if it's just one person, it just makes you feel so good inside. So I know what this writing process is. I've published 3 books, but I'm so happy to see that you're doing your thing and making things happen. We're going to put your information up on the screen. If people want to get a copy of your book,
Yeah,
they
it
can
could be.
go to Amazon.
May I add? It can be purchased on Barnes and Noble too. So I'm thankful that the Most High allowed me to be able to get into Barnes and Noble also.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we've dropped the link in the chat, in the comment area for people who want to buy the book. I want you to leave a couple of words of encouragements to our men out there and to our women, because when you tackle one side, the other side may feel like you're coming for them, and but if we're gonna heal, we got to heal the unit, not
Mhm.
just one group heals. This is all about men being bad or women being bad. No, it's not about anybody being bad. It's
Right, right,
about it's about everybody looking in the mirror and realizing that we all have things we need to heal from, and that we all need to be focused on doing that healing, because we got a whole nother generation of kids coming behind us. So when we don't heal, we pass that on to them. And we don't need to do that anymore. We need to stop those generational curses and unlearn some of these things in our culture and move forward. So give us a few words of encouragement to our men, and then give us a few words to our women. And then we're going to wrap up. And this right here, this actual interview will be available on YouTube and on Facebook. And I'm just so happy to get a chance to finally meet you.
All right, thank you. I thank you. As it relates to men, I often tell men that I'm in conversation with trying to help is always focus on the 4 P's, the 4 big P's. Prayer. You got to have a prayer in life. You got to put the Most High first. Like I said, I'm an advocate for the scriptures. And I understand that there's a lot of people that may not believe in the Most High, or they may believe in high power, but prayer gonna get you through. You're gonna take a lot of praying, a lot of crying out to the Most High, especially in this day and time that we're living in. Because as a man, especially a black man, we got so much against us. And if you're not tied up and tangled up with the Most High God, it's gonna be really hard. That much more hard. All right. And so the second one is your purpose. All right. You got to move in your purpose. You got to seek what your purpose is. You got to find out what your purpose is. And I tell people, whatever you got a passion for, whatever lights you up on the inside, whatever you see yourself can't be without, you'd rather die than not be able to do this thing. That's your purpose. So whatever you got a passion for, whatever lights you up on the side, that's your purpose. Find out what your purpose is and move in it. And number 3, partnership. You got to find the right woman. All right, you got to find the right woman. And I touch on this a little bit with the women. Uh, you got to ask the Most High to lead you to the right woman. If a woman coming up to you trying to get with you, she's not the right woman, because the scripture in Proverbs chapter 18 says, "He that find a wife found a good thing and obtain favor from the Most High." So you got to seek the Most High that He'll lead you to the right wife, right? Partnership. And then number 4, parenting. You got to invest in your kids. I'm always investing in my kids, man. I lose sleep to invest in my kids. All right, you got to invest in your kids always. And if you put these 4 P's in your life, man, you'll be the best man you could ever be.
I love that. We can stop there. Ian said, put God first, moving your purpose, partnership, and parenting, the 4 P's. Excellent, excellent. You can drop a little bit for the women, but I think that's for everybody, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
for
that's for
everybody.
everybody. That's
I
for
like that. That's excellent. Thank you so much, Khayree, for being with us today. We are going to support you, buy your book, tell everybody about the book, invite you to speak, right? Everybody, what you're doing out there, you need to support this brother. And we're going to continue to stay with you. So stay connected with us on the Black Writers Workspace and direct to author. I'm going to take you off the screen, but I don't want you to go anywhere, okay?
All
So
right,
I can
so
give you a proper farewell. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to take him off the screen, talk a little bit about some of the things coming up with the Black Writers Workspace, and then get this moving so that we can get it up not only on our YouTube channel, but on Facebook as well as Spotify. So we do have an Anchor.fm account, and so we do put all of our interviews on Spotify, and you can find it under Michelle Jackson for Black Writers Workspace. Thank you. Let me tell everybody a few things about what's happening with the Black Writers Workspace. We are continuing to move forward with all of our initiatives. We just released the names of our winners for the Chapter 1 writing competition. Want to tell everybody congratulations again for participating and for winning that competition. That's for our winners as well. I want to also invite everyone to come out to our second live book fair. It's going to take place on May 11th. 2024 in New Orleans. It's going to be in New Orleans. That's May 11th, 2024. We are already looking for people to fill those author booths. So if you're interested, we had the same book fair in January, had an amazing turnout, 75 writers, over 500 attendees. We're looking to do that again. So we want to invite everybody to come out and be a part of it. If you're interested in the book fair, it's called Black Ink New Orleans Book Fair. You can find it all over our page. You can find it on my page, author Michelle D. Jackson, on our YouTube page, as well as Instagram and Twitter. It's everywhere, but you can always go to my website at authormichelledjackson.com and you can find it in the navigation tool. So again, thank you for being with us. We're really excited to have you be a part of another author interview. Take care.